me again.
Oh, look how pretty that is.
Fun stuff.
I love this part. Oh, that is beautiful, Chef. Bon appetit.
Hey everybody, and happy Halloween. I'm so excited. We've got the kitchen all decorated, and I've also decorated the cottage. We're ready for this holiday season. And you know what? I'm going to share 4 of my favorite recipes to use during Halloween with you today. We're going to start with something all the adults will love. It's a fantastic meatball. You can do it in advance, and you're going to serve it all fall. Then we're going to do a marshmallow pop monster. The kids are going to have a fit. It's a great favor. Then we're going to do a monster munch mix. That's a tongue twister, but the presentation on this is phenomenal. Then we're going to do something healthy. We're going to make a monster mouth apple snack. It is so much fun. So we've got a lot of fun things to do. We're going to have quite a party. So let's get started on those meatballs. All right, so now we're going to make the sauce that makes these meatballs so fantastic. It's just very easy to do. I've got a medium-sized saucepan, but you can also do this recipe in the crock pot. So we're going to start with jellied canned cranberry sauce. Let me turn that down just a little bit. And then we're going to add in one of my favorite of all-time ingredients is Heinz chili sauce. I cannot tell you how many recipes I have that use that. Then we've got orange marmalade. So it's kind of a sweet and savory meatball. And then soy sauce, red wine vinegar. Oh, I love the aroma already. And then red pepper flakes. Now I'm going to add a little bit of water to this just because it's going to thicken as it cooks down. And also you want it to not be so thick that it won't stick to the meatballs. So we're going to turn this down to simmer and just let that kind of cook for a little bit. And I've got the meatballs in an oven, and we're going to keep those partially through, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a few minutes. So let's move down and get started on the marshmallow monster pops. They are magnificent. All right, so down here, I've got my setup all ready to go. And this is something that maybe your older children can work on with the younger children, but this is a perfect recipe if you're looking for something really special for a party, maybe the classroom party, or if you've got some trick-or-treaters in your neighborhood, all of you older folks that don't have children at home anymore, they love it when the neighbors do something really special. So I've melted some white chocolate, I've tinted it green, and these are going to kind of be like Frankenstein, okay? So in order for this to really come across, I want to start with a jumbo marshmallow. So what I've done to make this work well when you insert the stick is I've actually refrigerated the marshmallows. Now I'm going to take my lollipop stick and I'm just going to insert that right into the marshmallow. Then take your hands and actually put your fingers on the actual marshmallow instead of the stick. And what you're trying to do here is just coat it just enough that when we come over to dip it in the sprinkles that you have got a nice coating. So now we've got all kinds of colored hair on this monster. So let's do that one more time. So lollipop stick, cold marshmallow, just stick that right in, get a good coat on that Frankenstein head. And then let's dip this in the Yum Yum sprinkles that were created especially for VeryVera. Now this is when the artist comes out because we've got to make a face. So we're going to start with the little edible eyeballs that you can pick up at your craft store. Take another lollipop stick and you're just going to use it like glue with the frosting. And we're just going to stick that eyeball right on. See? You've got to have a patient child to do this. So the ones that are going to want to eat the icing and eat the eyeballs before you're finished, they need a supervisor. All right, then they also make these edible markers. So I've got my food writer, and I'm just gonna go across and make a straight line, and then maybe come down like it's wire for a mouth. See how cute that is? And maybe you could do something, you know, along those same lines with the other one. So in terms of how I've displayed this, this is just a piece of styrofoam cardboard that you can get at any craft store. So it's great as you're working with it to make everything dry, because I'm actually going to package these in little cellophane with this cute ribbon to give to some of my special neighbors. But for presentation purposes at a party, you'll see at the end of the show today how we've used the same piece to make a gorgeous centerpiece. So after the break, we're going to finish the meatballs, and then we're going to get started on the Monster Munch Mix. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Come back with me. Welcome back, everybody, and weren't those marshmallow Frankenstein heads adorable? I just love them. All right, so now we're working on the finished meatballs. So let me talk a little bit about that process, because we've already learned how to make the sauce. So the meatballs, you start with ground chuck, and I love to use the 80-20, and then you add an egg, you add panko breadcrumbs, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and fresh thyme. And then you just want to mix all that together, and you know, take a few minutes to make sure it's all incorporated. And then I guess all those number of years in the catering business, I don't use anything. I just pinch with my fingers and make a ball. But you want to remember the one bite, just pop it in your mouth size when you're doing something, you know, with a toothpick, so that it's easy to eat. Just pop it in your mouth. All right, so let me get this pan out of the way. Move this pan down. But I have got to tell you guys about all those ingredients. Not only did I use to make the meatballs, but everything I've done today. Kroger Click List has changed my life. I mean, on Sunday afternoons, I make my whole meal plan for the week personally. And then we also look at everything that we're using for prep and testing and today's show, and we just put that in on Kroger Click List. You know, it's a little bit difficult to get started just to establish yourself, but once you've done that, it's a breeze, and then you just pull up to the curb and they load it in your car. I cannot recommend it more highly. We use it all the time now. All right, so we're going to get started on the Monster Munch Mix. It's a mouthful, but it is adorable and delicious. So you're going to start with popcorn on a sheet pan that's covered with wax paper, and this is just microwave popcorn, popcorn already popped, whatever you want to use. And you could do the colored popcorn too if you wanted to. So just spread that out evenly on your sheet pan. All right, then I've melted some almond bark and I've tinted it green. So because we're kind of going with the Frankenstein monster, you know, theme today, I'm going to just take that, and it's a little bit thick, so if you didn't have pretty walls and pretty counters, and if you weren't doing a television show, you could sling this stuff like nobody's business. But you've got to just kind of take your time. And the reason this goes next is this is like the, well, first of all, it's the sweetness, but it's also the glue that's going to hold everything else in place. So just spread as much of that as you want. And then I've got different kinds of candies that I'm going to use. So I want to keep in mind, especially if I'm doing this for one of my grandchildren's classrooms for Halloween, you've got to remember certain allergies. And, you know, we want to maybe not use nuts on this for that reason. Well, why don't I go ahead and get started on adding some of this candy in. So sour worms, really? Granny V would not eat a sour worm, but I can tell you that my grandchildren think these are the bomb. And it really kind of goes with the theme of Monster Munch. So we're going to place those, and just make sure you place them where the almond bark is melted so they'll stick. All right, then I've got M&Ms, which I could eat forever and ever and ever. Love those. So we're going to throw a few of those on. And again, you've got to find your places where you've got your glue, your almond bark. And it could be green, it could be whatever color you wanted it to be. And then, of course, what is a Monster Munch without eyeballs? So as I place these around, I tell you, Halloween has always been a big deal for me, whether it was my children and now my grandchildren. They have some of the cutest costumes that they put on for Halloween, and it's always kind of a family theme going on with it, and I cannot wait for this year to see what they're going to do. All right, so we're going to use a vinyl glove. Again, allergy, concerns there, but it's also clear. You're going to take your candy corn, you're going to do the point side down in each of the fingers, and then you're going to fill this up once it's dry with that, and it makes a monster hand. It's going to be amazing. And you can just tie that up with some pretty ribbon. All right, so in Vera's Corner today, if we haven't already given you enough recipes, we're going to give you 2 more for a Mummy Brie and Dracula cookies. And then when we come back from the break, we're going to get started on the healthy snack, which is an apple snack. So come back with us in just a few minutes. In honor of Halloween, I'm going to share 2 great recipes. They're so cute and easy. One is fun for children, and the other one is savory. Your friends will love it. You'll love it too. We'll start with Mummy Brie, then move on to Dracula dentures. Preheat your oven to 400 on a floured work surface. Unroll the puff pastry and cut into 1-inch strips. Place the brie on a parchment-lined baking sheet and wrap the strips around the brie like a mummy. Whisk together an egg and a tablespoon of milk and brush over the pastry. For eyes, place 2 sliced olives on top of 2 mini pepperonis. Bake until the brie is warm through and gooey and the puff pastry is deeply golden. Serve with crackers. Preheat your oven to 350. Line a large baking sheet with parchment paper. Scoop cookie dough into 1.5-inch balls and place on the baking sheet. Bake until golden, about 12 minutes. Let cool completely and then cut in half. Add a few drops of red food coloring into vanilla frosting and stir until smooth. Spread a thin layer of pink frosting onto each cookie half. Place mini marshmallows along the round edges. Place the remaining cookie halves on top and then stick a slivered almond on each side to create fangs. Happy Halloween! Welcome back, everybody. And didn't you love that Mummy Brie and those Dracula cookies? You know, we've given you so many great ideas. If you weren't already planning to have a party or do something for your classroom, for your children, you need to do it now. And as always, our recipes are available at VeryVera.com. All right, so this is an alternative. This is a healthy snack. And I don't know about you, but I have to sell healthy all the time to my grandchildren. You know, one of Lucy's favorite things to do is say, sorry. And so whenever I say that I'm doing something healthy, I'll go, sorry. And so she's going to love this, and so will all the other grandchildren. All right, so we're going to take a Granny Smith apple today because that's actually one of my favorites. But if you're doing this for the first time, you might want to try a little bit smaller apple. This is kind of large. So you're going to make a wedge opening, and on this particular apple, there's a bad spot. So I'm cutting where the bad spot is so I can lose that. So you just want to cut straight down. And of course, use a sharp knife. And this is where you're doing this with the children. You're going to want to make sure that you're doing the knife aspect. And then once you've made that opening, just kind of clean it up a little bit. All right, so we're going to do the filling, the gums, more or less, with peanut butter. And today I'm using Hershey's Reese's peanut butter that is completely amazing. And you're just going to spread both sides of the apple with that. So here again, we spoke earlier about allergies and how important that is if you're doing something for a classroom of children. So there's some great alternatives. Biscoff, which I'm sure you're familiar with, if you fly on Delta and they offer you a cookie and you say, yes, can I have 5 packages? They make a spread that is amazing. And then also there's a sunflower spread that uses sunflower seeds that's very tasty that we use with our camping program. So now we're going to start with the teeth. So down at the bottom, you're just going to start with the little mini marshmallows. We're really using marshmallows today. They're such a fun snack. And then start the upper. All right. So we're just going to go all the way to the end. All right, then that little piece that you cut out becomes your prop, because now we're going to slice a strawberry for a tongue. I mean, what's a monster without a crazy tongue sticking out of the side? Oh my gosh, do you love it? And we got to have some crazy eyeballs. So this is where the unhealthy comes in, because these are sugar coated, but it's just a little bit. So get your eyeballs in place. So oh, and there's one other thing I want to make. I want to show you how to do a fang like we did on the cookies in Vera's Corner. So if you want to also make this really creepy, you can use some almonds, but here again, that's the nut allergy, so you might want to leave that out. But one of the things that we do in our cottage is we always celebrate holidays with children. So this past Saturday, they all came in for a Saturday camp for Halloween, and we did all of these treats that we're doing today. They have so much fun. All right, so come back with us after the break. I've got to go get ready for this Halloween party. We're going to have so much fun. So come back with us in just a few minutes. Let me introduce you to the bride of Frankenstein. Oh my gosh, I have had the best day today. And if I'm the bride of Frankenstein, then what makes my husband? Well, that's another story. But we have had a wonderful time today, and I want to go back over what we've done today with these kid-friendly recipes. So we started with the cranberry meatballs, and they were easy to make. It was just a nice combination of ingredients. They can simmer all day in a crock pot. They're perfect for entertaining for later on, but they look awesome in this pot that's just filled, looks like the witch's brew. Then we went to the marshmallow monster pops, and those are so much fun. They're great as individual gifts for trick-or-treaters, but they make a wonderful centerpiece if you're looking to do something special for your party. Then we did the Monster Mash Mix, and look at this presentation. It's just in a casserole dish. We crushed a bunch of Oreo cookies, so now it looks like the hands coming out of the grave, and the kids are gonna love it. This is an easy recipe. They can break it up, and you have any left over, you can just put it in a big bowl and put that on the buffet as well. Then finally, we did a healthy snack. We did the apple. That was a snack with the teeth made out of marshmallows. We put the almonds in for fangs, and it's just going to be really fun to do. And in Vera's Corner today, I gave you 2 other recipes that are really fun with the monster mummy brie, and then the cookies that look like Dracula fangs. So I hope you'll try these recipes. As always, they're on our website at VeryVera.com. So I know it's kind of hard to look at me right now, but let me share with you how much everything kid-friendly means to me. 16 years ago, I created a camp that we've been doing now in Augusta, Georgia, with young people that come in. They learn how to cook, they learn about table manners and etiquette, and then they also develop some great entrepreneurial skills. So we do all of that in a really fun environment, an educational environment, and then it's also an opportunity for the graduates of this camp to come back and join us as counselors. Well, a couple of years ago, I franchised this this opportunity. And many of you, where you're watching the show, actually have VeryVera Camp in your town. So I've got a couple of things for you to think about. If you think your town should have a VeryVera Camp, I hope you'll reach out to us at veryveracamp.com. And if you would like to go to camp and learn more about it, then please go again to that same website and reach out to us. Hopefully we can get a camp together in your area. So as we go through this process, let's talk a little bit more about how much fun it is to create these special memories for your children. I think I mentioned my grandchildren and how much we enjoy decorating for the holidays, getting the costumes together, and you know, you create these little impactful opportunities where you plan ahead, you get things done several weeks in advance, you don't wait until the last minute. It's kind of like getting dressed up as the Bride of Frankenstein today. It takes a lot of planning to be able to pull that off in a show like we did today. So as always, what I say is no matter what you do, do it in good taste. And I hope as the Bride of Frankenstein, I've come off tastefully. I want to thank you all for being part of this with me. And please come back again next week for another episode of the VeryVera Show.
Thank you for making these monsters, Quenvy. I love these monsters. How do you make them? I don't know how to make them. Thank you.